Hi, welcome to another episode of Django Chat. I'm Will Vincent, joined by Carlton Gibson. Hello, Carlton.
Hello, Will.
And we're very pleased to have Keanya Phelps join us, who is a project manager at Cactus Group, software engineer, and was chair of DjangoCon US in Chicago this fall. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for having me, Carlton and Will.
Thank you for coming on. I'm excited.
Mhm.
So maybe you could tell us, how did you get into coding originally? Because you didn't study it in undergrad like the two of us.
No,
I
I
mean, I
didn't.
mean, we didn't study it either.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, I mean, like everyone's life was blown up, imploded during the COVID years. That is where I got into coding. I actually went to a coding boot camp. So I got into coding by way of coding boot camp. A little
Mhm.
backstory: my sister Jeanette O'Brien, she went through momentum coding boot camp, which
Uh-huh.
was located in Raleigh, North Carolina. She went through that and loved it and became a instructor. So it was impersonal. Like every time I had a tech question or anything, I would always reach out to my baby sister, Jeanette. And one day, one day she's like, you could do this boot camp. Like, I'm like, no, I couldn't. It took me 3 years to learn how to turn my computer on. And I'm definitely afraid of Mac ProBooks. No. And she's like, no, you can do this. And it was more so she felt like she could teach anybody anything. So it was
Mm.
more of a challenge for her. And so I applied, and lo and behold, I got in. And it was like more of like a 4 month intensive type, 40 to 50 hour a week
Wow.
immersive training. Um,
Mhm.
Much to my surprise and delightment, if that's a word, I started picking it up really quickly, and I loved it. And so there was an opportunity for some fellowship work at Cactus. So I interviewed
Yeah.
with some folks over there at the end of the program, and they decided, okay, let's try her out, for a few months to see if it works out, starting off as a junior developer. And I'm still here, so apparently it works out. It
It
worked
went
out,
okay.
so it worked out. Yeah, I mean, in my previous life, I always gravitated. My career was more so in account management and
Mhm.
sales support. So that's probably how, and in my mind, I wanted to be like a technical project manager. I wanted to manage projects. However, I wanted to have the technical, prowess, if you will, to be able to deliver projects. So that I will say that was in the forefront of my mind during the boot camp, that I didn't. I wanted to learn how to develop, but I also wanted to actually be a technical project manager, and that's
And that's where
kind of
that's where you're working now, right? As a project manager.
yes,
So,
yes, that's what. Mhm.
what appeals to you from the project management side versus being the grunt?
I So I had to make the leap from account management to project management, because
Mm.
in account management, the reason that was my career is I love developing relationships. And I know it sounds cliche, but I am a problem solver. It probably doesn't sound cliche to you guys because you developers, you like complex problems, you like to solve them. So it is like seriously, being the oldest of six children. I kinda like, it's like I wrangle it. I think it's just in my personality. What um, the thing that I like most about the project management side of it is the technical project management side of it is that that I am actually kinda like I won't say, yeah, the middleman of the technical part and then the client and product, and I like having that context, being able to context switch from, "Okay, yeah, I know it might take us three weeks to, write this code," to, "Okay, you know what? Let me corral this particular developer because he or she is not really feeling this project." Those types of things, it's a challenge, but I like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, one of the things that stood out.
So
that,
I'm always scared of speaking to the clients. I'm always like, I like a good project manager who acts as that shield between
yeah, I was
me
gonna
and
say
the
it's a superpower to not just enjoy it, but to do it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you probably suspected that before, but can feel it now, right? Like most developers have no desire to be project managers and are probably not great at it if they're put into that role. So to be open to it and to enjoy it and to fill in the technical thing that's a Venn diagram that's quite rare.
Yeah, it absolutely. As my technical brain does not like to speak to clients, but when I put on my project manager hat, I am okay, well, let's do this. It's like, I don't know if you can kind of compare it to Beyonce. She says when she's on stage, she's Sasha Fierce.
Yeah, I've heard
Like when
this.
I yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Even
So
I've
when
heard this.
Keenya puts on so when Keenya puts on her project management hat, she's like a Sasha Fierce.
Yeah, what was I think a lot of like pop stars do that. Who was I? Sabrina Carpenter has like some name for her
Yeah.
like alter ego because a few, or maybe it
Oh
was Tate. Oh, I
yeah.
think it was Tate. No, Tate McRae. I think it's like Tatiana. My daughter's all into her because yeah. So you
Yeah.
can be shy and introverted. I don't know if Beyonce is, but
Ex-
yeah, adopt different personas
yes.
depending on the
Oh
context.
yeah. Yes, it's 100% that's me. I'm not gonna, if I was ever in a meeting with Carlton and Will talking tech and I would not be, raising my hand to, oh,
Oh
can I say
no.
this? No. But however, if you had a project that was kind of on the verge of running over budget or time, then I'm your girl. I am going to speak up loud and clear, and we're gonna get it done.
Well, I mean, Carlton's a good example of this, but I think, the elder figures in the Django community all are not just humble, but they're very open about what they do and don't know. I don't see a lot of bragging in the way that some tech communities, not all, do. So I think it's very welcoming to, hear Carlton, Jacob Kaplan Moss, all these people just say, I don't know,
Mhm.
to, of course they could, and as I've realized, and I'm sure you have too, the correct mindset is, well, I don't know, but of course I could figure it out, right? Because nobody can
Yes.
keep all of this in our head, right? That's sort of the challenge, though, in a way, is I feel like some domains you can kind of have a mental model of what you're doing, but coding is just so fractal that it's just impossible. It's more like you eventually have a mental map and you're like, I'm going to dive in and spend the time to learn how to do that thing, but I don't have to beat myself up because I can't remember anything in
Yeah,
the
whatever
moment.
syntax, right. I used to beat myself up in the beginning when I was learning, when I was, Googling, "Oh, wait, what is the Git workflow again for the
I
230th
still,
time?"
I still Google it. I mean, I still find that I will ask a question and find something I wrote because I phrased it, just like that. And I'm God, like, oh man, like 5 years ago, he had something going on.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh, and it's so weird that you say that, Will, because I remember, I think it was at PyCon when I first met you, I was carrying your book around.
Oh, well, I
How'd you get
wrote.
it
I
started?
mean, the book,
Yes,
the first
Django for
edition. Oh,
yes,
was it?
Django
Yeah,
for
professionals.
professionals. So, yeah, because I was at it was PyCon, I think, last year, and I was actually doing some work too, and a couple of chapters were helping. It helped me to figure some things out, and it was
Oh
just so
wow.
funny that you were at that the stuff. I think I forget what sponsor it was, or you were at the booth, and somebody was like called you Will Vince, and I was like, "Is that Will Vince?" I was like, "I have your book."
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And it just speaks to the accessibility too of the Django community, because here it is, I'm in some home office in Chicago,
Uh-huh.
fighting for my life, trying to figure this code out, referencing your book. And then 3 months later, I'm at a PyCon and you are the person who wrote the book and I have your book in there. It's just, you can't make this up. I was like, oh my God. And I have never
Well,
met you. So,
and I had that with Carlton. The very first DjangoCon I ever went to, I gave a talk on APIs, and Carlton was in the audience. And to me, he was like Django fellow, Django REST framework co-maintainer, and came up to me after the talk, said some nice things, gently corrected one or two things I said wrong, and
Don't go correct.
well, no, you did. I mean, I think it was more syntactical than anyways, did it in a very kind way, right? And so,
Mhm.
yeah, I think, so that's the model I have of like people are accessible, but also remembering like I was the same way. I mean, I learned how to code as an adult. I didn't have a boot camp. It was literally me in a room for 2 years, pre LLM, getting scared to put something on Stack Overflow and get lit up, So,
Yes.
um, yeah, I've sort of carried that. Anyway, so I was just, you telling your story, I think it's hard unless you've done it, it's hard to realize it takes a lot of courage to do a boot camp, to put yourself in a beginner position as an adult, right? When you're running projects and all of a sudden, interviewing people and now you're interviewing for a individual contributor role, it takes,
Mhm.
I think it's good for your soul, but yeah, it changes your perspective, right? To do that as an adult. A lot of people, I think, rightfully go, "Ooh, I don't want to put myself in that position," because
Absolutely.
it's uncomfortable for sure.
Yeah, it absolutely it is, and then I think about my experience and, from, I would say prior career life to now, and I kinda, think about how other folks get to from point A to point B, and I really do feel, lucky, blessed, because the folks that I've met along the way have been so generous, so just engaging, interesting, friendly, a joy to be around. And I want that for everybody. And not just in coding and learning how to program and technical, just period. Like in the work, like if you have to work, because who wants to work? But if you have to, why not have it be this type of environment? And I've also, because I've heard horror stories, and I'm like, "Oh my god," I just think about if that had been me, I don't think I could have continued. So I really feel a strong need to pay it forward, because it has been a joy, and I know it's not always the case for everyone. So whatever little thing that I could do in my little corner of the internet, I am trying to do that. Whatever I can do to pay it forward and help the next, Django not techie, whatever you want to call it, a person who is changing careers later in life, minorities who don't feel seen, or underrepresented people who don't feel seen, whatever I can do, because you're right, I have that perspective, and it's just, yeah, something. It's huge.
And Cactus is a nice place to land on your feet at, right?
Yes, it is. So when I got the full-time permanent position, it was amazing, because I really thought that, okay, they had an onboarding program, and I thought, I'm gonna learn a lot, and then I'm gonna be thrown to the wolves to try to find a job. But there were so many folks that um took the time to pair program, um, show me the ropes, just be human. I guess it is. Like, I hate
Uh-huh.
when the bar is that low, but but they are beautiful. Beautiful folks, like Tobias, the founders, Tobias and Colin. They are so accessible. They are so much fun to work with. In my experience, I don't know if folks are out there that don't have experience with them, but it's a fun place to work. It was a nice place to land. Like I said, very blessed. And I just assumed that it would be a fellowship, but I'm here. That was in 2022. I'm still here. And we're still still liking my job, still loving I was gonna say go into the office, but no, we don't have to go into the office.
They
We do
they
2
have
or
a
3 times a year.
You
they have a
can
nice
if you
Yes.
want.
office though. I mean, I think the
Oh,
sprints for
yes.
DjangoCon 23 and 24 were there, and it's like, well, you could get some
Yes,
work done in
amazing
here.
office. Yeah.
Yeah.
We do, an office week. We try to do it quarterly. Like, I'll be in Durham probably January or early February
Okay.
for a week, and I do feel like I've had remote jobs before, even before programming, and I feel more connected to the folks that I work for, or work with, I'm sorry, at Cactus, even more so than folks that I work went into the office every day. Like there's a something there. Like we feel connected. So
Are there any things you do particularly as a team to stay connected remotely? Because it can, I mean, getting together every so often is an obvious one, but are there,
yes.
in the day to day, are there things that really work, really help you?
I will say, I mean, I guess our stand-ups, we try to not overthink and with our meetings and stand-ups and ceremonies and stuff like that. There, we try to make it meaningful. So
Hmm.
a lot of times we have specific meetings for specific things. And I think the culture has been, since I've been here, has been open and honest. So I don't really feel like folks are afraid to speak up and, have conversations where I just feel like when you have honest conversations, um, that it fosters it just fosters a deeper connection. So it's not just a a ton of surface conversations. Like, we are definitely digging into, because it's a smaller team now. So we have to, I always say we have to stay efficient because we don't have a lot of, human resource, so to speak. We have tons of tech, software, whatever, but the people, we have to make sure that we nurture the folks, the people, because that's what's making this train stay on the track,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
It's
So
the
yeah,
limited
there's
thing, the expensive thing,
yes.
the thing that makes it work.
Yes.
It's
Uh-huh. Absolutely. So I think that, we try to check in with each other. I can sense when folks are overwhelmed or, might need a little something. Like that's just that instinct that I have. Not patting myself on the back. It's just that I have that,
Not
you
everyone
know,
has it in
that thing.
tech.
Yeah.
I
And
can
that's
say
the
that
thing
with love.
uh-huh. And I think too, because we have quite a few seniors on the team now. So I think sometimes they get bogged down and because they're so brilliant. And I'm like, come on, let's step back now. Let's
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 see the
talk about the
forest,
human
not
side.
get
Yeah.
lost in the trees.
Yes.
Yeah, it happens.
So mhm. So that is a way that we try to stay connected. But definitely, when we have our in office events, we come in we're in that office that week working with each other. It's always funny. The first day, it's like so quiet. You can hear a pin drop, and it's like when I work, if I'm writing code, I have to have my house music on, and I have to have background, and then I always talk to my dog. Graham is my coworker. So it's so weird that when I'm in the office because it's just a different environment. Yeah, I'm like, okay, can I turn this music on or is it gonna bother someone? That's always
it's
funny.
when you get up and have to have a little dance, that's the worry.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm not by myself."
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, that definitely happens. Yeah. You're like, oh no, social graces. What are these?
Yes.
I
It's
mean,
funny.
I for a long time I would my wife could tell if I'd been like stuck on something for a while because I would have like like coding hair because I would sit there just like this, and so I'd come out with like this wall of hair, and she's like, "Oh, you've been like, stuck on something for a while." I was like, "Oh, I guess I have a tell." With the
Yes,
wall haircut.
the folks who are in our lives, like, my husband, if he hears me say, "Yes," in my office, he'll be like, "Oh, she must have figured something out," because every little thing, even to this day, like, if I'm writing code, if I grab a couple of tickets because, I always tell I think I've told Tobias or Colin before, like, I am still gonna pick up some low-hanging fruit tickets because I didn't stress myself out for, 2 years learning how to code, not to code again. So, I'm
Right. You don't.
always like, so whenever I'm figuring something out and he hears yes, he'll be like, "Oh, she must have figured something out," you know?
Well, did you find I found this when learning to code because I had come from I guess kind of managing. I was working in tech, but I was managing a team, doing operations and business stuff. And so you don't get like the dopamine hit of fixing a PR or fixing something and making it work, right? Whereas learning how to code, yeah, there's long periods of frustration, but like you do get that like, oh yeah, like I did something, you
Yep.
know? And I mean, you're doing something when you're managing a team, obviously,
Mhm.
but it's a different kind of thing. It's less of a spike of, oh, done, on to the next, right? It's more of
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
keeping everyone happy. So anyways, that
Yes.
was really a nice feeling having come from a couple years of managing to then, yeah, just like, oh, I did this. Like I got
Mhm.
that. And
Mhm.
yeah, I just saying that because I'm sure you could relate to that feeling too. That was one of the things that was sort of surprising. And I think that people who come from maybe an engineering background and then promoted into management, they go, oh my God, like I don't feel good because I don't get that feeling of completion um, that I had right when I was rolling my sleeves up and doing it.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
You gotta keep your
Absolutely.
hand in as well, right? You can't just rust away.
Yeah, you want to stay a little sharp.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. I just picked up a ticket, I think a couple of weeks ago, and during stand up, I was asking for someone to review my PR, and I think it was Colin. He just right in the stand up, he went to it. I was like, excuse me, don't look at my code in front of everybody. Like, and then he was like, oh no, it looks good. And I was like, oh my God, thank God. I mean, but that
yeah,
was the first time he'd ever did that. He was like, why are you? It's fine. But those types of things, because it's like, no, I just want you to look at it. Don't share it until like no. But it was funny because that actually happened. I think it was yesterday or the Friday. And just to quickly review my PR, write it in our stand up. I was like, ah, I had to clutch my pearls. I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
yeah. It's sort of intimate to look at the code in front of
Yeah.
other people. Like,
You're gonna look at
I
my drawing? No, 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 no.
yes, but it was fine. But those types of things, and that goes back to for me with Cactus because, I've never felt I every now and then I still have imposter syndrome. But one of the things that helps me, I have to say, is the place that I work. Tobias and Colin have both shared with me that, oh, I love working with you, Keanya, because it's a new, you have a new, you bring newer ways at looking at things. And, they remember when they were learning, like you said, what you remember.
yeah,
And yeah,
scarred.
so
Yeah.
exactly. So when we did DjangoCon Europe, Tobias and I, we did something about we did a talk on pair programming. And at the
Huh.
time, I was pair programming with the founder of the company, and I was still kind of junior, but it worked for us. He's my favorite person to pair program. Like some people are like, really? Like he's a senior engineer. I mean, Tobias, Colin, but they are my favorite folks to pair program with because I learn so much. It's fun because it's always something like, if we're doing a live share or we're working and I'll ask a question and Colin was good with this. Like, I'd be like, well, do you think, XYZ, we should say? He was like, well, I don't know. Let's try it out. And I'm like, really? We could do that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I think
And
that's the thing. Like they're learning too, right? I mean, because
yes.
Carlton and I both have, even I've mentored people, which is weird to say. There's the imposter syndrome, and it's like they're kind of like, oh my God, like you're doing something with me. I'm like, no, like you have interesting ideas, like honestly, like, and it's one person in particular I mentored for a while, and eventually we kind of stopped because it got to the point where I was like, I don't know, like you're asking good questions. We're just gonna both go, she'd gotten the reps to kind of approach it like a senior person, which is to say, okay, I have this tapestry of kind of understanding, but yeah, I don't, it's you just get better at figuring stuff out. It's not that you know how to do a particular thing. Or, again, the questions, like I still find it so interesting when people write good, ask good questions, right? Or ask any
Hmm.
question, right? If it comes from a place of like, they're curious and they don't quite get it, maybe it's something I've heard before, but sometimes it's a new angle on something and I have to reconsider, oh, maybe I could explain that thing better, or maybe they have a real insight. Like, why do people do it that way? It's like, oh, I just sort of, it's ingrained that we just do it that way, but maybe there is a better way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I would just say in pair programming situations, the senior person gets something out of it too. If you're the
Yes.
junior person, like, don't think they're just doing it for you. They're definitely getting something from it too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes,
as
they're
well.
definitely. Mm-hmm.
I think that like this phenomenon, I think is just what it is to be programming, right? You come to any problem, it's like, how are you going to solve it? Well, okay, you might know that, you know, if you've done it, if that kind of problem, you might know, well, we're going to use this, we're going to use that, but the actual details of it, every single time you're working it out, and that's the fun of it. So it's not like, you know, I'm working with the junior doesn't know and I do. It's like, we've got to discover the solution together. And
well, then that's
yeah.
the thing. I think that's the kind of like the major point I've tried to get across to people is like, this is what it feels like, you know, because when I was learning, I was like, I wonder what it feels like to be Carlton Gibson, you know, like, or, you know, and it's, in a sense, it's that feeling of like, okay, I have some understanding, but I don't know, like, I'm just constantly learning stuff and learning that it's okay to not know things and
Mm-hmm.
approach it with an open mind. Again, like the strongest developers I've ever seen are the most quick to say, I don't know, but also like, let's go check it out, you know,
Yeah.
right? Like somebody who, again, acts all braggy, which is pretty rare in Django, but it still
Yeah.
happens in some communities. It's just such an obvious insecurity, I can
Yeah.
say and see now, right? But when you're younger, you're like, oh my God, like, you know, it's scary, but it shouldn't
Oh,
be.
yeah. Yeah.
That's not the
Yep.
attitude of a pro.
No.
Like,
And it has been, quite fulfilling when, Tobias or a Colin is like, I don't know, let's do this. Like, let's try it out. Like when I ask, can we, oh, I don't know, let's see. And it's just so refreshing. Like, okay, but won't that break the code? Like, they're like, we can fix, they're like, we
yeah, it's
can
just
fix it if
code.
it
Yeah.
breaks. It's just code. And they say that it's just code. And they're like, I would have never thought that way. So it's so refreshing to be, to see, professionals, especially professionals further on in their career who are, they're doing big things. They to work side by side with them, and they have that attitude. It's amazing because I don't know how many times it's like, let's see, let's try to let's see what Stack Overflow or let's Google or now let's let's see what the LLMs say. A lot of times the LLMs are wrong, but but
Okay, we've
it's
made
all
it.
Sometimes Stack Overflow
it's
is wrong, right?
always it's always yeah, it's always fun. Like, it's so many side quests, like,
Yeah.
if you're working with, like, I'll pair with another, developer, and then we laugh at the responses that we get, like like, or the solutions is like, "What?" Like, Colin will be like, he'll put something in Slack and be like, or even Tobias, this is what I got, and we laugh at it. It's like, what, what's happening? But it is what it is.
All
AI,
right.
I guess it's the way of the future. I don't know.
Well, we've made it
Is it?
30 minutes, so I can say something about AI, and I didn't bring it up for a change. But I'm just curious, what is kind of the workflow that I guess Cactus or you are seeing? Like, is there one, to the extent that you use AI and LLMs? Have you all narrowed down on a tool set, a flow at all?
I mean, it's in the early stages. I will say that. Um, I think back when Tobias and I did DjangoCon Europe, um, Copilot was all the rage for pair programming,
Mhm.
and I wasn't impressed. He wasn't impressed because, my assessment was, it's okay if you are, if you know how to code, if you know if you know how to you know the syntax, the languages, it's okay. That's what it's used for, to pair program to help you. But I feel like it was being marketed in the beginning, marketed to, oh, okay, you know what? You don't really have to know anything. Boom, vibe coding. I believe it was the beginning of vibe coding, and I had mentioned to Tobias, I don't think it's a good idea for junior folks or folks, maybe a senior, yes. Um, Fast forward, like, we do use some AI tools more so, I think, the notebooks we like, the
Oh.
Gemini notebooks for research. And for PM work, I'm not gonna lie, I like to use anything that helps me to work more effectively and a little to reduce my busy work. So I might use the polish my emails or some of the things like okay, if I decide that I want to create a newsletter or some type of marketing thing and I'm not the best in Canva or those types of software, I'll pop into their AI, their agent and see if I can get some nuggets to help out where I have where I have some gaps in knowledge, using it that way. But the whole, oh, you could just, oh, I'm one day I'm gonna just pick up and my computer and I'm going to create an app and I don't know anything about coding. I'm gonna vibe code an app. No. And then I'm not, some of the things we found yesterday, we found some something that was a little strange. We think it's an AI made website kind of mirroring Cactus. So we were doing some research and we found this website and we're like, what is this? And it looks like, it could have been created by AI. None of the folks on the website were real. We don't think. We looked it up. And it was just really like it's just, you know, um trying to research and looking through stuff, different AI models. It's just it's weird to me. I mean, I'm not poo-pooing AI, but I personally, where I am more passionate in AI about is just the bias in AI. So what I'm noticing more so,
Mhm.
in the the greater scheme of things is it's easier to be very biased, politically correct, but I want to say, racist, discriminatory, um, just perpetuating stereotypes through AI. That to me is what I've been more focused on lately and noticing, and that concerns me because how do we fix it? It's hard enough to get humans to come to the table and recognize, okay, I do have some bias. I do, it's hard enough for that, but how are we going to go up against these computers now too? That's the thing. I won't say it's keeping me up at night, but it's definitely on my mind. Yes.
Well, and it's the same thing. I mean, early days of Google, I was just reading something about AI and something else talking about bias. And um, this won't shock you, but it shocked me that for the longest time, if you typed in black women into Google, the top result was not what it should have been. Because,
Hmm.
so yes, the combination of the data itself, and then clearly there was no one at Google in a position of authority who was looking at that or cared about it. And
Yep.
so it's still, yeah. The philosopher would say humans are all the same, Carlton, right? It's just things are
Well,
amplified in different
these
ways.
things are trained on the entire corpus of the internet, and if you crawl around the entire corpus of the internet, it's pretty racist, it's pretty
Hmm.
sexist, it's pretty discriminatory, it's pretty, full of nutjob beliefs, and well, no wonder they come out from the average machine, right? The average machine will spout back what it was trained on, and yeah, it is concerning. I don't, and of course, yeah, the
Well, and these days, Reddit is like the new Wikipedia. I mean, and I say that not totally joking. I mean, Carlton and I had this, right? We had this side comment where, yeah, it was your son, right? We were sharing
Well,
Reddit links and
son was defending the use of Reddit as a primary source, and I was like,
in a paper.
really? And he's like, no, it's the only thing that's reliable. Everything else is unreliable.
And I
I'm
gotta
like,
say,
really?
the more hopefully educated I am, the more I'm like, Reddit compared to like the New York
Well,
Times, the Washington Post, like
Oh
not to
yeah.
mention, I mean, I'm like, well, at least I don't know, it's not so bad. It doesn't seem so
Yeah.
bad compared to
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
anyways, we don't need to go in that direction, but
I'm not
yeah.
gonna fight you on that because I'm a Reddit. I'm sorry, I'm a Reddit girl. So yeah.
Yeah. I did want to. Okay, 38
We should
minutes
talk
in.
about, we should
How
talk
did
about
you?
DjangoCon.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say. So, to be solo chair, I mean, that's how did you get roped into doing it? Because I attended, and it was a great experience. But I can only imagine how much learning there was, how much work it was. And you've written a
So
blog post we'll link to, right? The first in a 3-part series on Behind
yes,
the Curtain. So I'll just
yes.
mention those. There's a link to that.
So how did that happen? So after the first, I attended DjangoCon, um, Durham both years, and
Yep.
I was an organizer, and I think that I um just as a he funny, I should submit a quote to bring a proposal to bring DjangoCon to Chicago, and
Hmm.
so Peter
Yep.
he's like, "You should." And I'm like, "Really? Okay, well, maybe." I was like, "You think I could do it?" He was like, "Keena, you could do anything." I'm like, "Are you just saying that because you want a proposal?" Like, I don't know. So I took the weekend to mull it over, pulled together a couple of other folks and said, "Let's do this." So, I went to work, boots on the ground, getting quotes, proposals for hotels and who could who could support. And I think it took me about 6 weeks to kind of pull something together, submitted the proposal, and Defna reached out and they were interested. And it took another couple of months before I locked it down
Yeah.
because the JD and Defna, I will say, it's a little bit persnickety. So there were a lot of things to work out, a lot of things to hash out. And so finally, we signed the contract and
Yeah.
I think Tobias and Colin were at lunch with Peter and he mentioned, "Do you think Kenya might want a chair?" And they said, "Oh, knowing Kenya, yeah, they asked if you think she would be a good one?" They were like, "Absolutely." He asked, and I said, "Yeah, I could do that. I think I could do it." And so, in the meetings, we started our week biweekly, then it turns to weekly, organizing meetings, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot. It's
Well, it's project
or
management in a way, right? I
yes,
mean,
yep, it
so
is 100% project management and, with such a human element to it because
uh,
of the nature of DjangoCon and how, we are, crafting experiences. We want folks to feel included. We want folks to feel heard. So, it's not just your average kinda conference, it's that human empathetic, the empathy element at
mhm.
DjangoCon. So that was the one thing and I was like, I have to make sure that that is not, ignored during, when I was sharing. That was my whole main thing, that the empathy portion of it. But it was yeah, that's how and then I'm gonna also be the chair for 2026.
Yeah, because it's a 2-year,
Yeah,
generally
yeah.
a 2-year. And I do want to say, so it's Peter Grandstaff, right,
Yes,
from T Rock
yes,
Software. Just I know we
yes.
get a little insular here, but I want to give a shout out
Uh-huh.
because Peter did
Yes.
huge amounts of work for the Django cons in Durham.
Yes, yes, yes. He is so generous with his time, with, supporting anything that he can do. He's a good teacher. Yeah. And then yeah, Peter is awesome. Peter is
Yeah.
awesome. It's a lot of work. Like it so we will start I think our monthly meeting for organizing in about February. And then, we
Uh-huh.
just start filling each other out. But then it gets around you know, I think June, maybe
Sorry.
May,
He,
June, it starts ramping up and folks start, pulling their hair out. Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, because it's so
Yeah.
many things, right? I mean, there's just the
Yes.
financial side of like putting a lot of money down to reserve
Mhm.
these places, and then
Oh,
there's
yeah.
the website, the talks, reviewing. I mean, that's the least of it. The
The
catering,
p
like
the
every
programming, yes,
program.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah, yes.
it's
A and then doing all of that while still maintaining the feel of the conference. People have an expectation when they're coming to DjangoCon, the folks that have been to quite a few, they have that expectation that, this is going to be a top tier experience.
Yeah.
And, you want to make sure that you deliver on that
You can
every
feel it.
time.
You can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even compared to a PyCon, and that's not just the size, and it's taking nothing away from PyCons, which have tons of volunteers as well. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, DjangoCons are special. I think it comes
Yeah.
through. I mean, I was
Yes.
DjangoCon, the DjangoCon US in 2018 in San Diego, where I met Carlton. That was my first ever tech conference, like ever. Like and so I'm totally anchored on that
Mm-hmm.
experience. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
um, overwhelmingly good, but also I didn't know anyone. Like I'd
Mm-hmm.
written these books, but I was just like alone and like I didn't know anyone. I knew no one, right? And so I remember, at like meal times and everything, I was just kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
like, right? So that's also ingrained in me when I see people who are newer, like, yeah, like that was exactly me, right? Like I had
Mm-hmm.
no idea about anything, right? And it was so welcoming, and it's meant to be, but it can be because the size also is conducive to that. Whereas, then the next year I went to a PyCon, which was in Cleveland in 2019, and it was like 4,000 people, and
Mm-hmm.
you couldn't possibly recreate that even if you had all the other elements, right? It's just too
Mm-hmm.
massive. So yeah,
I
anyways,
agree. I
people haven't
agree.
been to one, you can feel it, and this is kind of where it
Yes.
comes from. It's the blood, sweat, and tears of
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, DjangoCon, Durham, I can't remember what year. That was my first ever tech conference.
yeah,
And it
23
was,
probably,
yeah,
23,
it was
24.
2023. 2023 was, and it was awesome because it was my, it, I thought I would be intimidated. Like my whole thought process of what a tech conference is, you're thinking, oh, all of these, geniuses, brilliant folks
All these
writing this
Carltons,
codes.
yeah.
Yeah, everybody, like, and
Okay.
then one year I got to actually sit on a panel with Carlton. I was like, imagine that. But yeah, I was like, yeah, it was, so I'm spoiled. I always say that Django kind of spoiled me because since in my career, I have been to other tech conferences. I won't name names, but they're nothing
Yeah, they're
like
not the same.
nothing at all. It's a different people, it's a different vibe, it's a different everything. So it's like, oh, you go to these and then you want to run back to Django because it's like a warm blanket. I was like, oh, it's like, that was it. Yeah, okay, I want to go to Django Con now.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's
Well,
exactly it.
and I think Chicago, I know that this from the organizer side, Chicago is kind of perfectly placed in that it's international airport. It's not quite as expensive as, Boston, New York, San
Yes,
Francisco.
yes.
It's also, people want to go there, right? It's a
Uh-huh.
huge city, right? So
That's what we
so
heard.
it
Like,
checks a
yes.
lot of boxes.
Hmm.
Well, you would know. I think more people, despite everything, went to Chicago than made it to Durham, I believe, right?
Think there was, so we thought because of the climate, the political climate, that we would see it drop, that we would see participation drop for visas and stuff like that. But I was told at the end, yeah, it was successful. It was, if you want to measure it, success, and folks come in a small profit or whatever, but yeah, people like Chicago. And the thing about it too is I born and raised in Chicago. And I
I was
still
born
live
there
in
too.
okay, like,
Evanston Hospital.
oh
Yeah, we
yes,
moved. We moved when I was 4, though, so I don't really have any memories.
about 10 minutes away from Evanston. Like I'm
Oh,
in the
okay,
north.
yeah,
I'm not too. I'm on the north side. Oh, but yeah, I love Evanston. Um, but yeah, I am born, raised Chicago, and I love Chicago. So
yeah.
basically, like I had to make sure that folks had what they needed. Like, if you need me to create some type of experience in Chicago, I wanted to do it for everybody. Literally, like,
And the
what
timing's perfect, right? Like
Oh,
the weather
absolutely.
in September. I mean, it was like 70 most days. Not a lot of
Yes.
wind, not a lot of
Yes.
cold.
Yes.
It's such a striking city. I mean, at night, right? It feels almost like I don't know, like Blade Runner or something, right?
Yeah.
Walking along.
Yes.
Like I
The
have all these
river,
photos
or
because there's these
yeah.
huge, massive skyscrapers in the river, and
Yes.
yeah, and then the weather was just perfect. Like it was, which is not
Yeah.
always in Chicago. We can say
Oh,
that,
no, it
but
is
in the
like
fall, it's pretty nice.
yeah. Oh, yeah, because it's like 20 below zero now, but and so I think Peter and or a couple of folks are like, we should do it. They were like, "Oh, let's push it out." Like they I think it was an October date. I was like, "Absolutely not. We need to
Yeah.
stay in this particular time because
September is good.
yeah, September is good. August might be too hot. September is the sweet spot. You want to, let's not mess around with Mother Nature because she can
You
be
will win.
very moody in Chicago.
Yeah, no, the
She
weather
really
was
could.
perfect. It was
Yes.
perfect. I was gonna say last year. This year, God, it was
Yeah.
only 2 months ago, 3 months ago. Feels like
Yeah, it seems like
3 months
last year,
ago.
doesn't it?
If you recover, Jack,
Yes.
Have
Have you been able as a
to
chair? Are you
recover?
able to? I mean, obviously you can't fully recover, but you do get a little
Yes.
bit of build up the
It
reserves for the next time.
it did take me a couple of months to kinda like work, emotionally, mentally, physically to kinda like, "Okay, I'm back. Alright."
Yeah.
So I'm good. I'll be at, my fighting weight, I like to say, when we start again in the beginning of 2026, I'll be good. It energizes me. I really the fact that it's DjangoCon, I love the people, I love the community, Django, obviously, that's where I shine at writing, in code and programming and development, so there's that, and then to introduce people that I like to my city is
Yeah.
I had so many side quests during DjangoCon, like, with folks I had just met then, they were like, "Oh, you wanna go do this in Chicago?" "Sure." "You wanna go?" Like, I felt like, I wanted to be like a personal host to everybody, and because of
Right.
the size of DjangoCon, I was able to do that, so I felt good to do that.
Yeah. Well, it's also I think when visitors come to your city, yeah, you see it through their eyes. You're like, oh yeah, like I've never done that, or
Yeah.
oh, I haven't done that for years. Like I should
Uh-huh.
go. It's the same way with like I'm here in Boston. Like I'm just outside of Boston. There's so many things I just wouldn't do because I've done them. And someone comes into town, like Carlton came to visit at one point, and I was like, oh yeah, like we can. There's like all this cool stuff we could do that I haven't done in forever either. But to see it through your eyes, I would totally do
Oh,
it.
yeah. Oh, yeah, Pete folks was like, Let's go to the Bean." I'm like, "Oh, I can't remember the last time I went to the Bean." And
Wait,
we were
what's the bean?
the Bean, it's like the big bean that it's a landmark or I hadn't been. It's a huge draw, and it
Oh,
was so funny because they were like, "How do we get to the Bean, Kim?" I was like, "I don't know. I just live here. I don't know how to
yeah.
get to the Bean." And so, but it's a tourist destination. Folks want to
Oh.
take photos. We took up a ton of photos. Bartek took a ton of beautiful photos there.
Oh, he
But
does
it's
such.
it's
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Oh, like Cloudgate. Oh yeah, yeah. The bean Cloudgate.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yes.
Yeah. Where the heck is? I didn't make it to that. We'll put a link. Well, I'll have to make it next fall. Um.
Absolutely.
Oh man.
I
And
mean,
I didn't even make it to the art museum, which I was
oh,
I know because I made it to the water every morning, and then I just
uh-huh.
didn't make it, and because my parents used to, as one does, they take the train, and they worked
Yeah.
right near there, and my mom used to go there during her lunch breaks to like de-stress from her corporate job, so she would just go
Oh
and stare at
yeah.
the art for like 20 minutes, and that was like her routine. So I was like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
you
do
have
some of that,
to.
and then I didn't make it.
See, I mean, and folks are always like, "Oh, you remember that the art museum in that movie with Ferris Bueller?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, it's right down there, okay?"
Yeah.
Like you can go to the art museum.
Yeah.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
Chicago, I mean, Chicago's legit an amazing city, and especially
Uh-huh.
yeah, in September it shows its best side, and
Yes.
I'm going to try to build in a little more time
I hope you
next
do.
year cuz it's sort of in and out. Um and hopefully I won't give a 45-minute talk. I'll do a shorter one.
Well, I mean, hopefully you
I'll do a talk. I have a talk. I
as
got to
the
talk.
chair, I'm like, hopefully you will do a 45.
Uh,
But
oh dear.
as a host to Chicago, I
Yeah.
hope that you yes, of course,
Well, we'll see.
because we
I can say here I'm scheming. So I already have submitted for I think yeah, it just closed for PyCon US.
oh, yeah.
A talk on Python web development, modern Python web development. So I want to
Oh,
touch upon
nice.
Django, but also Fast API, but more just do kind of a high level this is what's the same. This is what's maybe a little bit different, because I find it's so easy to get lost in the specifics of like this pet list, AWS this, Heroku, whatever that, but like 80-90% of it is the same.
Okay.
And so I would have, anyway, it's a constant common question that beginners have, or people who just, like most people, I think most people don't do deployments very often is the thing, right? Because if you're in a company, it's like someone set it up and you just do it. Or if you're a newcomer, so that it's like, it's not done enough to warrant the attention that it deserves. We're just talking about deployment, Carlton. I'm saying my topic for next year is going to be around deployments. And I think it's a combination of like senior people don't have to touch it because it's already built up from scratch. And then beginners get overwhelmed with the platform differences when most of it is kind of the same. Anyways, I have opinions. So I'm just going to that's my talk.
Well, that sounds very interesting.
We'll see the shorter the long version. I'm thinking the short version, but unlike this past year where I gave this AI talk, which was super fun to do, but I didn't know really anything about what it was going to be, and I had like 3 new repos, and I definitely overdid it a little bit. So maybe I could do 45 minutes on a topic I know about, sort of.
I was thinking about doing a talk too, but I was like, can I pull that off with being, the chair and giving a talk? Because I really do. My thought is to do a talk around, the bias in AI, but I don't know what that
Yeah.
looks I don't know what that looks like, and I don't know if I'll have the energy, the stamina to do it. So I'm gonna probably ruminate over that during Christmas break. I might I'm gonna think about it a little more. You know, if I'm gonna do, it would be nice to do a
I think you should
talk.
do it. I mean, one of my colleagues at JetBrains, Michelle Frost, she's on the AI front, and she's gives lots of talks, and that's what she's all about, is kind of
Mhm.
bias and inclusion, exclusion, and these
Mhm.
things. I think it's very relevant because a lot of people don't think about it, but as soon as you mention it, they go, "Oh yeah, oh yeah, that's a thing." But then, oh, this is how that has repercussions that impact everyone, regardless
Mhm.
of who you are. Um,
Yes. That's
so
important. Like,
either
not
you're
just
living
yeah.
with it every day and you're like, yeah, or even if you're not, you're like, oh, huh,
Mhm.
yes, that
That
that should be
that's the
elevated a
thing.
little bit in importance.
Yes, that's the thing because I want folks, because it doesn't you you don't know how detrimental it is if it doesn't affect you, and then what it looks like. Now I'm not trying to, divide anything, the races or anything like that. It's just it needs to be.
It needs to be
I think
pointed
folks
out.
need to be, yeah, and then it needs to be pointed out and needs to be intentional too. So like, I want it to just folks to kind of just take a pause and look. I'm not asking, oh no, we got to get rid of AI, but let's think this through, folks.
Yeah,
you know,
it could be
I
a panel too if you
yeah.
don't want to have to do the slides.
Yeah, that's a good
I mean, a
idea
panel of
too.
people who could speak to it.
Yeah.
Just throwing
Mhm.
ideas out there.
That
I mean,
that's a
I can.
really good idea.
We JetBrains is doing a Python event in March, and there's gonna be a pilot in Amsterdam. There's gonna be a Pi Ladies panel, and this cracks me up. In the interest of diversity, I'm gonna chair it because it's all women.
Oh.
So I'm like, wow, like I can be the diversity person.
Oh
Like
my god.
let's go. But they're gonna talk about various topics, and yeah, it's nothing better than people who. Anyways, another option other than a talk, but that would
Mhm.
be, yeah, I don't
Cool.
know.
Cool,
Carlton, we were just
cool.
discussing things while you took a brief
Yeah, no, well,
sojourn.
my electricity fluctuated, the internet went down, and it took a while to come
Oh.
back. And I was like, oh no, maybe it's not coming back, but it did come back. So, I'm glad you held the fort while I was away.
Yeah. Well, we're coming up on time. We've asked you a lot of questions. Is there anything you wanted to mention or we should have asked you about?
Is there
We're looking forward to your blog post, so we'll put
oh,
a link to it.
good.
So the
Yes.
first one was being chair, and then I think the next one is about being an attendee to chair. Is that
Yes.
right?
Mhm. Mhm. Yes.
That's
And
something
then
only a few people can write about.
yes, 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 yes. And so, like I said, there were a lot of ideas and quotes and thoughts and things. So I'm like, oh, this blog is turning into a small novel. I need to pare
Three
this
part.
down. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's on the we should give a shout out on the Cactus blog, which has other authors as well, and there's a lot of
Oh,
good stuff on there.
absolutely. Yes, we
So
do a lot of blogging. Actually, if folks are interested, you can see kind of our you would call it just how what we're doing lately. Our
yeah,
blueprint. I think Colin is working on some LLMs and he's blogging about that. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So, yeah, folks need to check out our blogs. I know that every now and then we get like I might see a post on LinkedIn and somebody is talking about a blog that either a colleague from Cactus or Tobias or Colin wrote 6 or 7 years ago. And they're always so surprised that people are still referring to their blogs from 6, 7 years or 10 years ago. They're always so
yeah.
surprised.
I mean, a lot of stuff is a lot more evergreen than you think.
Mhm, mhm. And
Yeah,
it
I would.
always tickles me. Yeah,
Well, and
yeah.
if people don't know, Carlton, you have the Stack Report. You have your own regular writings. In fact, I'm the
Yeah,
only one who's not writing these days on of the three of
you
us. I
need to
gotta
get
fix
back
that.
to it,
Mhm.
Will. You need to, you know.
Yeah.
I know, but
Yes.
I'm enjoying your writings too, Carlton. Which some are free and
Yes.
some are paid. So speaking of which, you have one should be coming out, right? You're due a
Yeah,
monthly.
want to finish the end of the year.
Yes. I like your writings, Carlton. It makes it just I'm like, I understand what this guy is saying, and it makes me feel so good that I understand what you're saying.
Well,
I'm like,
it shouldn't be confusing. Like if it's confusing, it's
yes.
poorly explained, right?
Yes. Oh my God. I'm always like just stoked that I'm like, wait a minute. I know what he's talking about. Yay.
Oh, you're making me blush now. I'm glad you enjoyed.
I'm
I'm
sorry,
glad you.
but it's so true. Like it really is. I think I had the same sentiment to you too. Well, like your books were easy. Like, I have my Python books, and when I was learning how to code, and then when I got your first, I think it was Django, for API. I think I bought that first.
Mm.
I was like, "Oh my god, I should have got this a year ago because it answered a lot of it was like it's so like, okay, yes, I understand this concept. I understand the syntax. Yes, it's all whenever I'm reading stuff that is just clear to me, you have no idea. It's just so amazing because there's so much stuff out there that looks like Greek. No, no pun. It looks like Greek
Yeah,
to me. I'm like, I don't know.
Well, and if you
So
find a voice that you resonate with, right, it's like, oh, now I can trust this person, right? And that's what I keep,
yes.
like, everything I do, I'm like, if I found this confusing, someone else will. And maybe I'm not the best person to explain it to them, but some people will find it interesting. And same thing, right? Like, I read everything Carlton does. Like, you find a
Mm-hmm.
person. And I do think, I mean, among content creators, there's definitely a little bit of an Eeyore, the sky is falling, everything's being commoditized by AI thing. But I think at the same time, like actually having trust and a voice is more important and valuable than ever. Okay, how do you reach people? But like you can tell if you're trying to do something. Like you can like you read Carlton stuff. AI is not going to write that. Even if, and I've tried, even if I like give it all Carlton's writing and tell it to write like Carlton, like it's not going to write like Carlton.
Mm-mm.
But even if it did, I don't trust it, and I trust Carlton.
Right. Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
think, yeah, well,
The context and the trust
so it's
still
trust.
lives within humans. And
Right.
like that's the thing that I hold on to regardless. There might be some AI that's helping me do my busy work, but I mean, that human connection, you can't teach a computer empathy and accountability.
Mm,
So, I
not yet.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, not not ever. It won't happen.
Not an LLM. Not an LLM.
No,
You could do a
no,
little
no, no.
filter, little empathy filter,
are we
slide
doing
it.
the second egg for episode now on?
Yeah, a little empathy saying, "Aw." Yeah,
I
teaching
well,
that. Mhm.
let's not go down that rabbit hole. Carlton, is there anything you wanted to add as we
No,
wrap
no,
up?
no. I mean, I feel I've missed the exciting middle bit there, but no, I think it's been a good chat. I think I haven't got anything left on my list. Are we doing a project and a book, or
Yeah, we've gotten lax here. So we didn't mention this at all to you, but we've informally done trying to mention a project in a book. I don't have actually, I do have a project. Well, no, I don't have a project. I have a book.
I've got a project.
And again, apologies. We didn't even mention this in the notes or anything. Unless you have one, I'm going to stump for, I'll go first. This book, Until the End of Time by Brian Greene. I need to buy, I'm going to give this to you in March when I see you, Carlton. So Brian Greene is this theoretical physicist. He's written a bunch of other books. This is really like a philosophy book. This is sort of and I don't want to make this sound boring, but it's sort of like a older person just being like, why does anything kind of exist? And it's really hard to do justice to how much I loved this book. And I've well, you can't see, I've marked up so much stuff. It's a combination of like remembering like how physics and chemistry and biology and math all are just shades of the same thing. And he's clearly grappling with just being kind of an older person thinking about mortality. It's just a beautiful, beautiful book of a eminent theoretical physicist just thinking deep thoughts. And I don't know how he made it interesting, I'll be honest, but it's so good.
That's intriguing.
I mean, and he just makes these like offhand just about how chemistry is just, like the periodic table is just like, well, it's just like an extra, oh God, I'm gonna get it wrong, electron here or there. And I don't know. He just has these like, there's so much good stuff in the book. It came out a couple years ago. I think it sold okay, but I think Carlton, I've been telling you about this book for a while, right?
You have. When you picked it up, I was like, oh, that's the one Will keeps telling me to read.
Yeah. Anyways, Until the End of Time, highly recommend. Carlton, do you have one?
Okay, so I've got a project and a book. So
oh, God. Okay, go for it.
The homework. So the project I'm going to recommend is called DjangoCon Task, which is from Johannes Moran, who goes by the name Coding Joe. You should go to his GitHub. He's got several projects, Django Pictures, an S3 file upload, which is a nice little widget. He maintains the Django Select 2 integration. But this is like a cron-style scheduler for the new Django Tasks framework. So if you need periodic tasks or scheduled tasks, and you want to use new Django tasks, then you've got this add-on which gives you the scheduled tasks which aren't part of the core package now. So that's my project. I think that's a really nice addition.
So Django cron tab, you said?
No.
What is it? Say it to me.
Cron tasks. Django cron tasks.
Cron tab's different.
Put it in the chat there for you, Will.
Oh, thank you.
But but check out, go click through to his other projects. He's been a member of the Django community for a long time, and he's got some other really good projects that are really worth checking out. So that's my project for the week. And then for a book, I'm going to recommend this one, which is new from Manning. It's 2025. It's fresh out. It's called Just Use Postgres, and it's about all the things that Postgres.
He actually reads these books. Like he actually reads these like I aspire. I'm not quite. Go ahead.
Wait, like I keep getting
it's
told
an inspiration.
I'm going to be made unemployed by these LLMs that know more than me, so I've just got to keep reading. I've got to read.
Okay,
I've got to learn faster than the LLMs. But it talks about, so it's got a first section on, the foundations of SQL, to like things like window expression or common table expressions, window expressions, recursive queries, etc. Indexes, all those things that perhaps you think you should know, but then maybe don't. But then it goes on to JSON fields, full text search, extensions, using Postgres for generative AI, time series, geospatial.
Can you hold it up one more time? Was it Just Use? Okay, that's fine.
And it's from Manning, right?
It just came out, right? It just came out last month.
It's fresh off the press. It's only been out so it's bang up to date. And it's like, if you're using Django, then you're almost certainly using Postgres. And there's these advanced Postgres features that you've kind of heard of, but you're not 100% sure how they work. It's a great book. I really, really, really recommend you get it, stick it on your desk, flick through it every so often. That's my book.
Looking over. I still have some other books you've recommended that I bought that I haven't read, but as you've said, buying it is 90% of it, right?
You buy them, you look at them, and then occasionally you flick through them when you feel guilty.
Yeah. Well, so no pressure unless you already had something prepared, because we didn't mention this at all to you.
I don't have anything prepared other than as far as projects, if folks want to submit a proposal to bring DjangoCon to their city in 2027, 2028, the CFP is still open. That would be amazing, that we're still looking for cities to represent. So,
and they could come to Chicago and talk to you and others and get a firsthand guide to.
Yes. also too, I am going to be at the PG Data Conference in 2026. It's also going to be in Chicago. It's taking place June 4th through the 5th. Proposals, CFPs are open. That's something that I am. Cactus is actually a sponsor and a sponsor that. So uh,
Okay.
that's
Put a link to
just a
that.
project. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Posted
If
by
you like, if
Prairie Postgres. Is that like the
yeah,
Midwest Postgres
yes, yes, yes,
chapter?
yes, yes, yes,
Nice.
yes. So if you like data, we like data. So, that'd be a fun little conference for folks to attend.
All right.
Okay.
I think, yeah. I don't have any, I'm not reading anything lately.
Oh, I know.
Which is weird. I had just talked to my husband too. I was like, I need a book. It's been at least 8, 9 months since I read something. But I don't know. I don't
Carlton,
know.
go on then. You're always reading fiction too. What do you
I'm reading some terrible, well, not terrible, they're wonderful
Brand
actually, some fantasy novels by a guy called Joe Abercrombie. So he wrote a
Ah,
trilogy called the First Law Trilogy, and this is the follow-up. This is the second one in a follow-up trilogy, whose name I'm sure it has. But Joe Abercrombie, he's
okay.
worth he's worth
I
it.
was thinking about doing the because I'm into Welcome to Derry, it Stephen
What's that?
King.
Oh,
Ding
okay, yeah.
ding.
Yeah. So the show, but obviously he has a ton of books and stuff. Like I'm
He's
like,
one of your
and I'm
favorites.
not. Yeah, I love Stephen King. Like
Yeah.
I really really like Stephen King, and I'm like maybe I should go back and read some of because I've read so many of his books. But I just finished up the Welcome to Derry
If you go to
series.
google.com and type in welcome to dairy, there's a really cool little custom thing.
Oh,
There's
is
like a
it?
No
there's
Easter
like a
egg.
little red balloon that pops up on the
Oh,
screen, which I've never seen
yeah.
before. On Google, on
Frightening.
Google. Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
frightening.
On the search results. It's like, okay. That was kind of
Yes, and
cool. I was like,
y
oh.
yeah, I just felt yeah, it was a really good, series, and I was impressed. Stephen King doesn't disappoint, but sometimes folks don't get his works, like, when they switch it over to, like, the big screen or movies. Like, his
Yeah,
books
yeah.
are amazing to me, like, but they're doing a good job with Welcome to Derry. Love it.
Okay, I'll check that out.
Mhm,
I'll have to check that
mhm.
out.
Yeah,
Well, we could keep chatting, but I think we're
yeah,
we're
yeah,
at
yeah,
time now.
yes.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
Thank you for being a chair. Thank you for being part of our community, right? Because I'll say this, like Carlton and I feel like we've been waiting for the new wave to come in for a while now. And, you're tip of the spear of this new wave that's bringing new perspective, new energy, like everything. So it's really wonderful to see.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. It's been so much fun chatting with you too. I love what you do. I appreciate being included in this group, this motley crew, I like to
Yeah,
call.
yeah, very.
Yeah, quite rightly.
I I love it. I love it. I'm always looking out for your works. I appreciate everything you do. Thank you so much.
So djangochat.com and on YouTube, and we'll see everyone in 2026. Bye-bye.